Hey y'all, this is your host Liz, and you're listening to the Bad Millennial Podcast, a show that dives into the ever changing culture of our generation. From cringeworthy dating stories to navigating the workforce, Bad Millennial covers it all. Or at least I try to. Whether you're a proud member of the millennial generation or just trying to understand the world through our lens, Bad Millennial is the podcast for you. This is episode 20, and I am beyond thrilled to introduce a very special guest, none other than my friend Trevor, to the podcast. Our paths actually crossed at a work video shoot, and let me tell you, we hit it off from the start. And you also might just recognize him as the sibling of a certain star from a little Netflix show called Love is Blind. With such a close connection to the world of love and relationships, I could not resist tapping into Trevor's own insights and getting his take on all things romance. So get ready for a roller coaster of love, laughter, and maybe even a few life lessons dropped along the way. You can also find Trevor on Instagram at sensitive_scorp. That's sensitive_SCORP. Yes, he is a Scorpio with all the feels and charisma that you can imagine and that you will soon find out. I also want to remind you guys that merch is available as always on Etsy at badmillennialshop.etsy.com. Use code BAD10 for 10% off. That's bad in all caps and the number 10 for 10% off. I really appreciate all of your support, and it means the world and makes for an even better podcast. So, without further ado, let's get into the show.
Let's
Yay!
go.
Hey, Trevor, thanks so much for joining the podcast.
What's up, Liz? Happy Sunday.
Yes, happy Sunday indeed. It's so good
Nice.
to see you.
Good to see
Honestly,
you
like
too.
last time we talked, we were all talking about relationships and love and life and dating in LA. So I just really would love to share your perspective with the rest of the Bad Millennial audience. And if you guys don't know, again, Trevor is in LA doing the thing, just having the
Doing my
perfect
thing.
positive state of mind. So
That's right.
I'm really excited to get your advice today.
Okay, I don't know if I have advice, but maybe I do. But I can tell you definitely my experiences.
Yes. I would love to hear your stories. Like, honestly, first off, like, what is it like dating in LA? Like, there's always new people coming in and out. And I feel like
hmm
LA, I mean, just in general, if you're thinking about Hollywood, it's so image heavy. I'm just wondering,
Very.
like, how is it like navigating all of that?
Yeah, my competition is like athletes and entertainers and social media influencers. That is definitely it definitely plays a big part in it, for sure. Well, first, I would say I've been in LA about 8 years now.
Mm,
In those 8 years, I was in a 5 year relationship,
nice.
and we met through Tinder originally when
Oh,
we first
okay.
met. And that was pretty
Nice.
much within the first year or so when I moved to LA. And that was a an experience for sure, in the sense of a lot of my dreams came true, and even some of my nightmares came true. I feel like that's Los Angeles in a whole. Your dreams will come true, but your nightmares will also come true. And you
Oh,
can't
wow.
take all the good without the bad. And so it was, we're still friends. My ex and I were still friends to a certain extent with boundaries, but um, we had our highs and we had our lows. And so that is what it was. But then when it comes to, I would say I've been single since COVID. I broke up with her actually during COVID. Do you remember when we were hearing things about like people are falling in love during COVID, or they're definitely
Yes,
breaking
and
up?
people are like, everyone's making babies, and just like it was the baby boomers COVID edition.
Yeah,
And
or
you were
or
like
or people were breaking up.
just fighting because they're just in each other's face too
Right.
often.
And that's
Oh
kind of what
wow.
happened.
That's where
Like
you fell.
yeah, like now she was home all the time. Now I'm home, and I'm the type of person where I love my space, but I also like to be cuddled up and buddied up with my babe. But
Yeah.
COVID, it was tough, and we were already having some issues. So I actually went into some therapy during
Nice.
COVID, and my therapist at that time just helped me with some exercises, relationship exercises, and I
Oh,
applied
cool.
those exercises, and essentially she failed. It wasn't a test. It wasn't a test, but it was a new
Were they
opportunity. Go
were
ahead.
they like questions you had for her,
It
or
was
like
like
was it just like things you had to notice?
it was things more like, hey, well, if you love her, and you know you're at this point where you just don't know if it's going to work or not, to be honest with her and to have an open dialogue to say like, hey, where are you in this relationship, and what do you want to see different in this relationship? And
Mm,
so she told me what she wanted to see. I told her what I would like to see different in the relationship. And I pride myself to ensure that I was going to give her what she asked of. And, for this relationship to get to the next level. Because at that time, I believed she was the one that I wanted to marry. And the things that I asked for, it's like it went in one ear and out the other. And within
hmm.
weeks, she kind of went right back into her old rhythm. And so now I have two sources of income, or maybe three at that time. And I'm like, well, I'm just gonna go look for my own apartment. So I started uh, going to different parts of LA where it was like walking friendly, so I can take the dogs
Hmm.
out. In
Yeah,
the sense of restaurants and bars, I wanted everything to be as soon as I walk out the apartment, I'm in the mix.
right there.
And
Yeah.
so I went to Santa Monica Beach and lived at the beach for 3 years.
That is the life. Like honestly, like it is the that's why I honestly love California for the beaches and the sea. It's just so calming and grounding. And it kind of
Really,
just like lets you like there's something bigger and more beautiful than like whatever mess you're currently in. Like I
yeah.
love that. Peace of
And
mind at the beach for sure.
it's up to you to have that perspective. A lot of my neighbors that lived at the beach, they barely ever went to the beach. And I thought that
That's
was
so
odd.
sad.
Yeah. So I,
Yeah.
I utilized the beach to help with the breakup and rebuilding myself. And it was a great experience, but extremely, extremely expensive.
Well,
Like very
yeah.
expensive.
Very expensive for paradise. But no,
Hmm.
that sound like really helpful advice from your therapist, honestly. Like I think it's important to note too is that like you can't change someone else. Like they have to want to change for themselves. And
Yeah.
it's kind of like what you see is what you're gonna get. Are you gonna put up with it or are you like gonna have the strength to be like, hey, this isn't for me anymore. We've changed, we've, grown
We
apart.
outgrown. Hmm.
Yeah.
No,
I
for
also
sure.
think yeah, like living together too is like I feel like the ultimate test because I am very much a big fan of my space and I've been like living alone since I don't know, my first big girl job out
Hmm.
of college.
How long you been living
So,
alone?
oh my gosh. So I graduated in 2015 and I immediately like was going to apartments like probably a couple years after that, 2018. And I've just kind of been floating around here ever since. And
Okay.
then for me, during COVID, I met my boyfriend. Our app was Hinge. Have you heard of Hinge?
I love Hinge. I'm
Made
not
to
on
be
it right
deleted.
now. That's such a lie.
For me, it works. For me, I
Okay.
got lucky.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was like wondering, you did Tinder. What other dating apps would you kind of recommend? Or have you tried anything else besides
Yeah,
Tinder at all?
I've only done Hinge and Tinder, and honestly, okay, so I'm about to give you some tea.
What's the guy experience on those
Oh shit!
apps?
I never even told any women that this side of my perspective, but I learned the algorithm of Tinder.
Okay.
And how did I learn the algorithm? Well, I've always I've always gotten a lot of likes on dating apps, both
Mhm.
Tinder and Hinge. And what I had learned throughout just the dating um, was it's not so much about all the likes, it's about a mutual like and ensuring
Yeah.
that maybe the app is pushing the type of women that I'm interested in and not just any girl that likes me. And so my family, my background is Jamaican, Cuban, and Guyanese. So I
Nice.
grew up Caribbean and Latin, also because in Queens, New York, I lived in a Colombian neighborhood. So, and I've traveled a lot throughout my life. So, one of the things I had realized for me, especially in LA, was I connected well with foreigners or
Mm,
immigrants.
mhm.
And so I would push pretty much if you gave me American vibes, I wouldn't like you. And if you gave me vibes that you were not from America, I would like you. And
That's it.
the algorithm figured that out. And I figured
Interesting.
out that the algorithm figured that out. And
And the
so,
algorithm was accurate with you.
yeah, pretty accurate, pretty accurate. And so, pretty much I would typically only date women that typically that were not um, born in America. It didn't matter how long they really lived, but so and then I did the same thing with Hinge. Tweak the algorithm. Again, I'm saying tweak, but again, so all the girls that would like me in America, I mean that were American, even if I found them pretty, culturally and or morally, we did
Mm,
not connect. And it just seemed to me that I connected more with um, people from different countries. They just had a better background or a similar upbringing. I don't want to say better, just a similar upbringing and morals that I had. And
like
the
more travel and
yeah, just
just
more
different.
traveled, more understanding in the sense of they're just not the entitlement,
Mm,
which I still encountered that as well, but more so with Americans with entitlement or just a lack of respect in how we treated each other in relationships. I realized with American women, I had struggles with that, and I
mhm.
didn't typically have those same struggles when I dated women outside the country.
Interesting. Interesting. That's honest, and that's very interesting that you recognize that too about your dating habits. Would you say that's kind of panned out better for you? Or are you still open in general to whoever kind of comes your way? Because I'm assuming in LA too, you're not just on the apps, like you're seeing people, you're going out, you're a very outgoing person, and your aura and your energy, like people are easily just drawn to you. So I
Thank
feel
you.
like I'm just saying, like I always get positive vibes every time I'm around you.
Yes,
So
thank
I'm
you,
like,
thank you.
you have to probably be off the apps too, kind of.
Yeah, yeah. I'm currently I'm not on any apps, and the truth is, it's overwhelming
Mm.
for me in the sense of uh, just so. It sucks to say this, but it's like my brother was on Love Is Blind, so I'm trying.
Well, now that you mention
Uh,
it, there might be a little bit of
yeah,
bias in the water now, just
yeah, for
little bit
sure.
more complicated.
Yeah, things are. So yeah, same things that Clay went through. I mean, I wouldn't have gone on Love Is Blind for sure because um, I wouldn't want to put too much of my love life on TV or for people to critique. And even what I'm sharing right now, I've only probably shared this with my guy friends. So you're
Oh,
getting a little
I'm
bit of tea
honored.
for sure. But it was over a Hinge and just the outside world of just organically meeting people. Um, yeah, you're right. I'm very positive and I'm very outgoing, and I have that energy that attracts, and I'm very grateful for that. That's my gift. And so I would connect sometimes with one too many women and trying to get to know too many women at one time is just it's just overwhelming, and it leads to games and not being as honest as I want to live my life, or hurting feelings or getting my feelings hurt.
Mm.
And so about a few weeks ago, I deleted Hinge just because I just felt overwhelmed. Oh, actually, I deleted it because I do get used and abused in the sense of I went on a date with this really beautiful girl, and the date was amazing. We went to a Mexican restaurant with my dog, and then she told me she was
Oh.
vegan. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I said, maybe we go somewhere else. And she's like, yeah, I have a sushi spot in mind. I'm like, cool, let's go to the sushi spot. And we go to the sushi spot and we're vibing. And I'm like, wow, like I'm liking her. She seems to be really
Mhm.
liking me. And the bill came out to almost $400.
Ow.
And this is the first time I'm
Jesus.
meeting her. And I paid, of course, didn't ask for anything. And she texts, and so I forgot to ask for her number at the end of the night. So she messages me on Hinge saying, "Hey, we
Oh,
forgot to
good.
exchange
Okay.
numbers. Text me tomorrow." I'm like, "Oh, cool." I'm like, "This is great." I mean, I spent 400, but at least I'm gonna see her again.
Right.
I text her the next day, and she texts me back later that night, like, "Hello." I mean, the whole energy changed, and I was like, "Oh shit!" Like, did she just say just hello? And
Right. After.
I'm like, "Hey, you're giving me vibes that you're not really feeling me." And she never texted me again. And
Oh no.
although I wasn't
Um,
hurt, I was more annoyed with how the date, the perception I was
mhm.
led on. You know what I mean? I believe that she was playing a game. I believe that she had intentions, and her intention, she accomplished it, was to
Yeah, she
get some
wanted a free
sushi out of
meal.
the
Yeah, she
night.
wanted a free meal. Hey, LA is expensive, and that was a very expensive dinner. So you made her a week probably.
I made her
Ah, I'm
night,
so
I
sorry
think.
to hear that.
Yeah, yeah.
Ah,
So that happened,
that
and
sucks.
that's not the first time that's happened. And I had learned signs in the past
Mhm.
to try to avoid those type of situations. But I'm a sucker for beauty. I'm not gonna lie. I'm a sucker
Do
for
you
beauty.
do you go straight off of the app and you're like, hey, let's go to a date, or do you try to like get to know them a little bit more? Like for me personally, my philosophy is always like get them off the app quick because there's a buffet of others, right? And so I want
Hmm.
the focus on me and either get them on like texting or phone calls and try to
Hmm.
get to know them a little bit more back and forth and then do the first date. Or are you just like a straight app to date type of person?
It all varies. It just all
Okay.
varies. Even with her, I didn't think about the number because we were kind of so quick to just set up the date that I didn't think about it, honestly. And sometimes I like keeping it on the app only because I already then have some phone number. I'm not a player. I'm really not a player, but if I am dating, then I'm not the type of person where I'm going to put all my eggs in one basket. So say we
Yeah.
match, say we vibe, say we hung out. To me, that doesn't mean you stop talking to anybody that you met on the app, and vice versa. It doesn't mean that I did.
No, that's not,
Um,
yeah. Dating is like getting to know people until
mhm,
you guys both be like, do you like me? Check. I like you. Check. All right, we're going together. Otherwise,
mhm.
yeah, you're totally in the clear. That's fine.
So it all varies. I would say a little bit of both.
Interesting. Okay.
Hmm.
So now that you've like deleted all the apps and stuff, have you done any like blind dates or had friends like match you up or thought
Yeah,
about speed
I don't do
dating?
the friends match up anymore either.
Oh, that
Um,
went bad.
I wouldn't say it, I wouldn't even call any of these situations bad. I just look at them as experiences and just learn
Mm,
from it. So,
that's that
I don't really
positive
look at it.
mindset.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So no, I really don't look at them about that way. But I have had situations in life where they're like, "Hey, you should meet my friend," and I don't know. None of those situations ever worked out. And blind dates, no. But because I have the dog and I'm very outside, and I live in a mix where I'm at in LA right now, and the West Hollywood area. I still, it's very easy for me to still meet people, um, with no problem. I just approach, literally.
Yeah.
And I try not to be a creep about it in the sense of cold approaching, but
Mhm.
you just smile, happy Sunday, and go from
Yeah.
there. Go from there.
Honestly,
But
every time someone says hi to me, I'm just like, "Oh, a nice human." And then you kind of just you either get a good vibe or you don't. But and then if
hmm,
you're with a doggy, I mean, come on. That's an easy opening right there.
little too easy. No, no, I want to say it's a little too easy. But right now, I am dating a few people right now, and I'll be honest, because even if they see this, it'll probably be we'll probably moved on from there. But no, I'm dating them and I enjoy their company. But nothing in a sense of I feel the potential of it becoming something more. And I want to say
Mm,
why. The reason why I don't think I'm how many girls? I'm dating maybe two or three girls right now. And the honesty aspect is what they do on their personal time is their business and vice versa. So none of us are putting pressure on each other. But
that's
how I
good.
determine if I want to take it to the next level in the sense of committed relationship, it's two things really. For me, I need to feel it. I need to feel those butterflies and my heart racing type feeling, which I have not felt with anyone that I'm dating right now or in general. And then the second thing that really matters to me is the state of mind. Like, how do you process, hardship? Just how you process your life, and the negatives or anything that's in the negative realms of like you're kind of struggling mentally. We might be able to click, but I'm not willing to dumb my mental down for you to essentially build you up.
Yeah, you kind of want
Uh,
to be on the same level. And I think
mm-hmm.
with the second point, that might take a while because a lot of times you have to go through something. Because I think
Yeah.
people really present their best selves when they're dating, and everything's so good, and they just want you to like them, vice versa, and you don't really know how they are until an actual struggle or something hits, whether it's like losing a job or just having a bad day. And like,
Mm-hmm.
how often are you around them? Are you around them
Mm-hmm.
enough where you can even see those dips, between the highs? So
Yep.
I think that's a really important point because I think a lot of people are very caught up in the fairy tale of, yeah, I love the butterflies and the honeymoon phase, and like I have a
Yep.
boyfriend or girlfriend. It's so exciting. But it's just because I also think it's not highlighted enough how to, work through all the difficulties and the hardships. It's when you look at TV, it's always like the positive, he gave her the ring or the
Mm-hmm. Or
rose if
social
you're
media.
bachelor.
Yeah.
Oh my
Mm-hmm.
god, social media is just, well, it is fake, but everyone's just trying to present their best selves. Like, yes, the real stuff kind of gets more likes technically when you're
Mm-hmm.
being open and candid about your, difficulties, but nobody's out here just being like, I went on like 5 bad days this week and none of them liked me, or like no one's saying that. No
Right.
one's teaching you how to deal with it. It's very much trial and error.
Right. Right. So because I take my mental health very seriously, and I have, that's what built me up to even quit my career to move to LA. I had to really build myself up, and the goal was to prove to myself that to give my life purpose and to
Mm,
give my life meaning. And again, so when I'm talking to individuals, all individuals, in the sense of friends, etc., I always pay attention to the words they use. And if somebody calls themselves an idiot or somebody else an idiot, red flag for me.
yeah,
I don't tolerate. I don't want to say I don't tolerate, but you disqualify yourself if you talk down about yourself or anybody else because I worked really hard to ensure that I don't do that. And now I don't. It's so easy not to talk down on anybody. I'll say, hey, I'm really smart. And if a girl feels uncomfortable, I look at her like, okay, I'm going to pay attention to that because if it's easy for us to call someone stupid, why is it so uncomfortable for us to say how smart we are? That's
right.
really how I live my life. And so to me, losing relationships, all aspects of relationship, friends, family, really nobody really gets too much of a pass on my end. Girls do get a little bit of a pass, but overall, people don't really get too many of a pass for me if if I'm like catching too many negative tendencies that you're bringing out, maybe subconsciously. And
Yeah,
I'm
I
not
feel
finna
that.
school nobody on why they shouldn't. I might bring it up and be like, yo, don't call yourself a dumbass or don't call yourself stupid. Like, and they'll be like,
Yeah.
yeah, you're right. But then they do it again. I'm like, I'm not finna I'm not finna I can't dumb myself down again for you to try to build yourself up. Again, like you said, we need to kind of have to be on that same level, which is tough
Yeah.
in LA, and that's a part of why I'm single still.
I feel you. I mean, LA, I just feel like it's so from an outside perspective and what LA, it just feels like everyone is so projecting something that they want to be and not that they really are. And just being around so much negative, like even just people calling other people idiots, it's like, you know, you want to treat other people how you expect to be treated. So on the one hand, I'm like, yeah, you don't want to be around that negative space. But on the other hand, I'm like, are they just also calling themselves, stupid or just having that constant negative self-talk? Because being in such an environment, LA, I feel like it just, especially if you're trying to be an actor or something, I feel like
Yeah.
you just get beat down
Yes, they
mentally
do.
so much and the
They do.
self-esteem is not there
Yes.
because you're being judged on something that's so superficial. I feel for
Yes.
you guys really trying to make
Yes.
a genuine connection. Like, I think that's great that you have your red flags that you pay attention to.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is what's not going to work for me because you want a meaningful connection with people.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. Any other red flags that kind of, you're kind of checking off like, okay, negative self talk or negative talk about other people? Like,
Well,
any other
how
ones?
much work they got done to themselves, I'm mindful of that. So it's not so much that I won't find a woman attractive because she got work done. It just I just won't want to take it to those next level. So even if she shows interest and I show interest, I've heard that some girls take this real personal where they don't appreciate a guy that if you know you're not going to make her your girlfriend or she's not a potential girlfriend, why even talk to her? Because I want to. That's it. Because I want to still get to know her. That's it. Because I still find her beautiful. That's it. Like,
And it's also fine to just like enjoy someone's company. It doesn't
yeah,
always have to be an end game of I gotta wife you up or whatever, or like you're only with her because you're have some ulterior motive. That's
yeah,
no.
yeah. So, but so I am talking to a girl that is visiting LA for 3 months, and she's from another country, and she's got some work done to her. And although I'm not a huge fan of getting work done when it comes to lips, Botox,
Mm-hmm.
boob, I mean the whole shebang. I've seen it all.
When it's noticeable, you're kind of it's like a turn off for you.
Maybe with too much on the face, whether it be too much
Hmm.
makeup. Oh, I typically won't ever date any woman with too much makeup. So say on Hinge, for example, if
I've
they don't
heard of
have
that
one
before.
natural photo,
Okay.
if I
Yeah.
can't see what they naturally look like, on average, I
Interesting.
will not like them. If they have their ass out, I
Hmm.
typically won't like them as well. Or if I do, I'm going in with sexual intent, and that's
Uh-huh.
the truth. But if their ass is
Yeah.
out, um, every time they had their Instagrams listed on it, these are
Hmm.
just things to tell me we're just gonna enjoy each other's company. I'm not taking this serious at all. And a lot of
Yeah.
times they don't want me to take it serious either. So the times where I ended up since my last relationship, the last I don't want to say I fell in love, but there was at least three different girls that I gained, immense feelings for. And they were looking at me like, bruh, chill. Like, I just want to have fun. And I'm like, but I think I love you. No, like, I'll delete Hinge. And they were like, oh, yeah, we could delete Hinge. And then, one girl I really liked, every time we're going out, I'm spending so much money. And um, one day, I think I had seen her at least 7, 8 times, at least, right? And on one day, I'm like, yo, let's go half on this. And she choked on her drink, and she was like, oh, go half. And the next day, she was like, yo, Trev, I want to be treated like a princess. So she's like, if you're not comfortable with paying for everything every time, she's like, this isn't going to work.
At least she was honest. I'll give her that. At least she was honest. You broke the cardinal rule. You have to treat her like the queen. I appreciate the
I wasn't
honesty.
mad at her, and I wasn't mad. I was hurt,
Yeah.
but I wasn't mad. I was like,
Yeah.
damn,
Oh
I really
wow.
liked her. But obviously she's not the one, you know what I mean? Just what it is. And
And
that's the
that's not
thing.
mine.
Well,
Yeah.
that's the thing. I don't even think a lot of girls even consider how, especially in these bigger cities, how expensive. life really is. And then for for you to be able to keep your money and do your own thing, but then have the standard of guys have to spend their money on you. Then my competition outside of a normal guy, um, they love the drug dealers, they love the scammers, and that shit mind boggles me when I hear a girl like, oh, I enjoy dating those type of guys because they really spend on you, and I'm like, okay, red flag, good to know,
Yeah.
good to
Like you
know,
only
like
care
okay,
about the money. Okay.
like good to know.
Uh,
It doesn't matter that how much of a solid man that I am or that I have morals. And I've learned that quite often that not every girl cares about that. Especially I guess when you get into the realms of when the beauty starts to get, when they're just really, really beautiful or they're just,
yeah,
they gain
yeah.
a lot of attention.
Yeah, they've kind of grown up expected to be treated a certain way. And I think, well, even just going back to like how girls are kind of trained up to be like, you're supposed to be taken care of, the guy's supposed to support you. It's just like that old fashioned way of the guy's supposed to take care of the money aspect and everything. Whereas in modern dating now, people have these conversations like, okay, we're going to go halvesies because you're only making this, I'm only making that. Or even the girls like, I'll pay this time, you can pay next time, whatever. Like there's so many more rules to be broken. But when you're around people in an environment where they're used to being treated a certain way because they look a certain way, I feel
Hmm.
like that's even harder barrier for you to break through because if you say something, then they're gonna look at you like, okay, that's an asshole. Because that doesn't make sense, doesn't compute in their mind because of how they've been treated their whole lives,
Hmm.
basically. And it's like it's also not your job to try to change those type of people. They're looking
Right.
after a certain type of guy and you're looking after a certain type of girl.
And
So
that's just what it is. And I think that's what makes dating so much challenging now. From all our expectations to having the access to so many people now. Because look, say we're dating, I piss you off, you could go right back on Hinge and match
yep.
with somebody the same day and meet the same, that
It's so
fast.
sad. Yeah. It's almost like you don't even wanna put all 10 toes down in what you have currently because there's always, like, there's more, there's bigger fish, it's so tempting. That's,
And
like
and and being afraid of getting hurt again. I think
that
all of
too?
these things play a part. So I technically go about dating very differently. So here's a story. I went to Jamaica I go to Jamaica every year. But this
Oh, nice.
past August, last year's August, I went to Jamaica and right before I went, I wasn't dating anyone. No intimacy, nothing. And it was because there was a girl I was dating and she was an actress. And
Oh,
we met on
interesting.
Hinge, black woman. And oh my God, I was like, yo, I'm putting my all into this. And so things were going so well. But then when she ended it, she started to get like famous. Like she was on a magazine and a commercial. And so when we first met, she had first did the photo shoots, all that type stuff. By the time she ended it, she was on TV and on magazines. And I don't know if that played a part, like the new clout that she was getting. I don't know if it played a part, but it was all
It
around
would
the
be
same
hard
time.
it would be hard for to not assume that that would have no effect at all.
I'm
That's
pretty
just
sure it had an effect
That's
for
huge because
sure.
now you're so visible and you're so thinking of how you're moving in life
Yep,
too, and it's
yep,
like because
yep.
even when people are famous, people judge if you're with a non-famous person,
Yeah.
or people are judging if you're like Ariana Grande, people are judging her for being with someone who played SpongeBob in a musical. Like people
Oh,
are like,
really?
"This is yeah."
Yeah. Wait, she's Ariana Grande.
So,
Oh, I'm
because
thinking of Selena Gomez. She's dating that dude with the curly hair, and I'm
he's
like,
is he a producer or something? A music? I don't know
I
what he
thought he was an
is.
influencer.
I don't know what he is, but
I,
everyone's judging because her too, because they're like, I don't know who he is. We expect you to be with someone top tier because you're with the Beebs, you know? So
right. That's my
I
assumption though too. I was shocked. I was like, oh,
yeah,
he looks normal, and I just wouldn't
which
expect her to be with a normal person.
I don't, but I also appreciate that for her. You
Me
know, I
too.
appreciate that for people who they've been through so much with the fame. Even, I mean, I could go on and on about different celebrities, but it's like, I think it's important to have anyone in your life to be a grounding force and remind you who you are
Yeah.
outside of the face or the name, you
I
know?
think that's so
So,
important. So either way, old girl, she got famous. She broke up with me. That was hard for me. I remember that was hard.
ugh,
And so I was like, oh, you know what? I'm gonna take a break from dating. And then I went to Jamaica. And I said, when I go to Jamaica, I'll date while I'm in Jamaica. Like, because I'm at a resort,
vacation,
it's
babe.
international,
Yes.
you know. I'm like,
Everybody's
I'll have fun there.
glowing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was like
Yeah.
that. It was like that, you know. So, and the way all the women were treating me, and these are women from all around the world at this resort, and the way they were treating me, it gave me, it was just not how women treat me in LA, and I felt and saw the difference, and I'm like, when I go back home to LA, I'm not going with these high standards anymore. I'm not going to be putting pressure on myself. I was in Jamaica and I'm like, wow, they're treating me so different, and different in the sense of, it's just different in the sense of how the women in LA treat guys or me. It was very different, just more humble, more honest. I didn't feel this LA cloud, the entertainment world. Nobody was involved with it. So it was like, oh wow, this is
Nice.
nice. So after all that, when I came back to LA, I came back with new standards in the sense of, I'm not going to put pressure on myself. I'm not going into relationships with high intentions anymore, regardless if they believe that or not. I'm going to be clear with my intent that I want to get to know you, and I need us to have time and to go through a little bit of things for even for me to say I want to take it to the next level. And if you're patient enough and human enough and aware enough, then obviously you'll see it take it to the, take that relationship to the next course. But if not, then it'll just end and it'll just be what it is, and it's all good. And essentially that's how I've been going about dating, and I'm in a happier place because I go about it that way. Not every girl I've dated appreciates my approach, but it's my approach now. And so and I think that protects both of us. So that's how I go about it now.
I think that's awesome. I honestly think it's important to prioritize yourself and your needs while also being open and honest and communicating with the other person. Because I think so many people are used
Yeah,
to
I try
just
to
games, you
to
know,
a certain extent for
and
sure, but yes.
just like not really knowing what they want and kind of leading people or whatever. And so I think that's awesome.
Thank you. Thank you.
I love these tips. Experiences. These are great experiences.
Okay,
Anyone
cool.
could learn
Hopefully none of it
from.
scares you away.
No, honestly, it's giving me a totally new perspective from the guy because I think the girls, or at least I'll speak for myself. I can't speak for
Hmm.
every girl in the world, but I just think that a lot of times we're trying to interpret or decipher like where's the guy coming from, especially when there's guys who are just like being the macho, strong, silent type, which is fun for a day. But when you're trying
Hmm.
to get to like real stuff and they can't communicate with you or they don't
Hmm.
like actually know where it's going or they just like, you know what, I like having someone to cuddle at night. That's about it. Like it's I think it weighs heavily on most women who are looking for something more and deeper. So I'm glad there's someone like you out there in LA because honestly, I just felt like LA to me is just a great pond for making quick connections, but a relationship that's what you move to the Midwest or the South for.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
you want to
Yo,
settle
listen, I agree
down.
with everything you
I
said, and
honestly, yeah.
and I pride myself on being different than some of the other guys because when I hear stories, girls' perspectives of their, and I'm like,
It's so sad.
whoa, whoa,
Yeah.
whoa. But either way.
Either way, you make sure that you're not the one giving them those stories. So that's awesome.
Yeah, yeah.
Hey, fellow Babylonials. Sorry, I had to pause it here. The tea was getting too good, but I hope you got a lot out of part one with my conversation with Trevor on love life relationships in LA. Like, oh my gosh, I really feel like one of the guys now. I've learned so much. So while you're waiting for part two, send in some questions, send in your comments, any reads. Like, what do you want to hear more about from Trevor? Follow him on Instagram again at sensitive_scorp. And also, follow me at Bad Millennial Podcast on Instagram, _Bad Millennial, _ on Twitter, also on Threads. You can visit the website. I am working on keeping the blog going at badmillennialpod.com. So, yeah, share your thoughts. And fellas, whether you're in LA or not, do you agree with Trevor's points? Do you have differing opinions? Let me know. I'm all ears. Maybe I'll feature your comments on an upcoming episode. But yeah, really hope you guys appreciate part 1, and part 2 with Trevor is coming soon. Bye, y'all.